The Tom London Show is brought to you by Suzuki Kyalami, the home of happy customers.
The Tom London Show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How's it? Welcome to the show. Good to have you with me. It's a Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m. out of the city of gold. And I'm Tom London by your side for the next hour. Coming up in a little while, Johan Buerta Schrijver. You'll find him on Facebook. Johan Buerta Schrijver joins us today to talk about his upcoming seminar and talk about our thoughts and whether our thoughts become our feelings and how the two are intertwined. So if you are like me and you get up in the morning and you have a battle with your own thoughts, then Johan will be on board to take us through that process, well, the process of dealing with it in just a little while. I did say on the post today that I'd have a major announcement. And for me, it's a major announcement. Maybe in the greater scheme of things and in the world, it's not the biggest announcement, but for me it is, because we're going to be changing the format of the show from today. And I think I need to just be what I always promise to bring to a microphone and to a studio and to product is to be authentic and honest and real. It's something I started 20 years ago in broadcasting. I thought, the best thing I can be is just be real and be honest with people on the other side of the mic and the camera. And so that's what I have always endeavored to give you and always will endeavor to give you. So in the spirit of just keeping things absolutely real and truthful, I want to talk about the last year that we've had on the show. It's been incredible. I mean, I've done a lot of shows with different people over the years on different formats, radio stations and podcasts and stuff. And I can honestly say that this year, the product that Tonya, Alistair, and I built on the Tom London Show, the team-driven product, has really been some of my favorite content I've ever produced. And I've been working with two of my best friends, which has been fantastic. And what I didn't expect to come out in the beginning, because in the beginning of, when we started the show, I thought, let me put my two friends on. I've got Alistair Jameson, helped save my life a year ago. I got Tonya Curry, who keeps me sane. We chat every day, and I think that she's the reason I'm still hold on to some of my sanity. One is conservative, one is liberal. I don't want to put people in boxes, but generally speaking, and then I'm the guy in the middle that kind of shifts left and right, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what happened if we threw the three of us together. What I didn't expect was the comedy gold to come out of it. I've looked back on shows that we've done, and there are moments of comedy brilliance, of impromptu comedy genius. And so I'm very proud of the product and the content that we've been producing the last 9-10 months or so as a team. But, and here's the but, life comes along and it throws curveballs. And one of the curveballs, I say we were thrown because I feel it too, is Tonya's mom falling ill a little while ago. And Tonya's own health battles, but more importantly, the battle that her mom is going through and the fight that she has got on her hands. And I thought, about a month ago, I thought back, and I thought to my own health battle and how it took 100% of my energy. I mean, for at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I didn't have much energy to do anything else. I'm talking about work, maintaining relationships, just all the stuff that goes with life. And I only had one thing to do, was get better. And I realized a year ago that if you want to get better and if you want to fight health battles, you need to put a lot of your energy into that. And so you need to start reconfiguring where your energy goes, because if you put all your energy into other stuff, you ain't got nothing left for the fight. That was my thinking. And I chatted with Tonya about a month ago, and we had this conversation where I spoke about energy and how she needs to be very careful while they're in a fight and a health battle. To employ her energy strategically, because I don't want my friend to fall down. And then the conversation happened between the two of us where it just didn't make sense for Tonya to come on every week, because her energy's better used elsewhere, number one. And number two, I can't ask one of my very best friends who's going through a difficult time to come on and be funny, because that's what we became. We became a laugh a lot, funny show. And all of a sudden, I've got a friend who's in just a really tough situation. And then I'm expecting her to come on twice so we can just forget all of that and be a comedian for an hour. And so I completely understood a month ago or so when Tonya and I had the conversation that there wasn't going to be energy for the show. And in fact, I endorse it. And then I thought, well, let's hop along and see what happens. But to be honest, the team-driven show requires a team. And without Tonya on the show, it just doesn't have the same feel. And I think the same would apply as if I wasn't on the show or Alistair wasn't on the show. And I was speaking to Alistair and we were talking about this and whether the show works if we're not all together. And the truth is it doesn't. It doesn't produce the laughs and it doesn't produce the comedy and it doesn't produce the ha-ha if we're not all together and also if we're not in the right space of mind. And I think it's prudent to be honest with you when we're talking about changing the format of the show, to say that I haven't really been in a great space of mind for the last month. I've been finding it difficult to sit in front of the camera and the microphone and just be happy and ha-ha because I've got bad back pain and I'm trying to set up studios and I got the same dramas that people have got in their lives. So it's been tough on me the last month or so. Just how do I keep this light and happy and funny? And I know Alistair's got his challenges as well, and we've spoken about this and thought, well, you know what, let's press the pause button on the team. While we are dealing with life's dramas, and while we don't have the mental capacity to come on twice a week and just be happy people when there are difficult things happening around us, let's press pause on the team. And we'll unpause when the three of us are in a position to get back together again. So that is the major announcement today, is that we are saying goodbye to Tonya and Alistair, I hope temporarily, while life is busy throwing curveballs and there are other priorities in our lives. We're going to press pause on the Tom London show as a team-driven product, which begs the question, what are we going to do with the show? Well, I think we've built up this wonderful community, Tom's Army, over the last year. And I'm immensely proud of the people that join the show and contribute in the comment section. And I love it when you tell me that you wait for the show. And so we're going to continue with that. And I'm going to revert to what you've been asking me to do for some time now. A lot of messages that have been coming in say, Tom, can we have more guests? Can you do more interviews? And when I was thinking about this, if we pause the show as a team, what do I carry on doing? Because I still want to come and sit here and I've got to. We've got a sponsor on the show and I want to keep it going and I don't want to lose contact with the audience and I want Tom's Army to get bigger. So I thought, well, why don't I just do what you've been asking me to? Don't come up with any fancy ideas. I don't think I can replace anybody. I thought about it. Could we find someone to step in temporarily? And I honestly can say this with my hand on my heart. There's no replacement for anyone on the Tom London show team. I've got such unique co-hosts on the show that it would be impossible to replace. So the decision's been made. We're going to pause the team for now. And we're going to go to an interview-driven format. What does that mean? It means every Tuesday and Thursday you can expect new faces on the show. We're going to make the circle bigger. We're going to bring more people in as guests, one new face every week. And so you can expect, I'm going to go digging around and see if we can dig Jenny Chris Williams out of the woodwork and put her on and see if David O'Sullivan will come and join us for a day, and Tim Medisa and Rudy Klabi and people I've worked with in the past, as well as notable South Africans and people in the news, etc. So expect a lot more people joining us on a weekly and monthly basis, and expect a more interview-driven show. However, that means you are now my co-host. So that means I'm going to be bouncing off you. I'm going to be relying on a lot of your comments in the comments section. And I'm going to be relying on you to bounce off me to keep things light. Because the last thing I want to do is a depressing show. So if you and I can keep the happiness levels going, we keep the show going. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I wanted to make it very clear that Tonya and Alistair are two of my favorite people and best friends in the world. I absolutely love them and care about them. This has got nothing to do with anything but life's troubles at the moment. And I really do hope that we get back to a position where everyone's in a good space and we can unpause the team. But until then, I'm happy to carry on going and bringing you exciting new people every week. And I hope that you'll come with me on the ride. I hope that you'll still be in it with me. And I hope that you'll continue with me to do good work. We've got Tani Mari's grocery delivery coming up soon. And when we're finished with that, we'll look for the next person to help. And so the job is not over. We will continue to be kind. And we'll continue to look for people who need our help. And we'll continue to help where we can. But for the foreseeable future, every Tuesday and Thursday at the same time, nothing changes, time stays the same. We're going to be bringing new faces to the show and new guests on each segment. Viv Vermaak will still be on the show once a month, and so will Johan Botha, which brings me to Johan's segment today. Johan will be talking to us about words and thoughts and emotions, and we'll get to him in just a moment. But before we do, I want to know what you've got to say today. So your comments in the comment section, please. I think Alistair said he would pop up in the comment section. I wanted him on the show today, actually, to thank him personally, but his power's down, his internet's down, everything's down. When I spoke to him earlier, he wasn't a happy chap. Nothing was working, and he had a bit of a cough. So, I'm not sure if he's going to appear, but if he does, won't you please say hello to him? He'll be in the comment section. Margaret Guider says, hello, boys and girls. Oh, there's Alistair. How's it, Tom London? Okay, speak of the devil. There he is. Heather Grun says, hello there. Patsy Redlinge says, afternoon all. Nikki Hart says, hi guys, I hope you're well. Thoughts become things. Gail E. Mortensen says, how's it? Glynis Kamali Holiday says, happy to see you again, Tom. Yvonne Duplessis says, hello everyone. People are joining us thick and fast. Who else we got here? Una Guider says, hi Tom. Marlene Falkenberg says hello. So does Beverly Ann Lloyd out of the UK. Soraya Lara says, hi awesome team. Jenny News says, hello everybody, God bless you all, uplifting you in prayer. Hi Tom, nice to see you, says Margaret Guider. Alan Pollock, my Uncle Alan, is on the show. Hi Uncle Alan. Alistair says, hi all, I'm with Tom London on this. We're all in constant battles for sanity. We need to hold each other up. I'll always have Tom's back in everything we do. Thank you, Alistair. I really do appreciate that. And I can't emphasize what great friends we are. And that for me is the most important thing. Okay, hello Tom, Alistair and Tonya. Tonya, how's your mom doing? I hope you've caught the front part of the show and I've explained that, Wendy. And talking about Tonya needs all our prayers and support right now. So if you don't follow her on Facebook, go along, look for her, Tonya Curry on Facebook. Follow her or make friends with her and just be as supportive as we all can be in this journey that she's on at the moment. Eunice says, Tom, take it easy, don't overdo it, look after yourself. I'm okay. I'm just tall and getting older. And that's when the back problems start. But they're getting better. I've been doing stretches. I've been good. Lillian says, agree with you, Tom. Margaret Guider says, you've made the right decision to let Tonya have the break she needs. Thank you, Tom. Also a good dynamic that Alistair gets a break as well. Yeah, these shows, I mean, they look like easy to do, but they take quite a lot out of you mentally. But more than that, you need to be in a position to want to make people laugh when you come on. And if you're all not in that space, then you just can't get it right. Dawn Stelfox says, this is sad news. Yeah, I look back on the shows we've done and I'm very proud and I go, oh no, it's a pity that we pause in this. But, I'm confident that we'll unpause it. Moira LaRue says, I like the African girl from The Breakfast Show. Good replay. Are you talking about Khahele Makoro? She's got personality. We'll make sure that Khahele gets a slot on the show. We'll bring her in from time to time, I promise. Glenda Lawrence says, hello, everybody. Hope everyone's well. I'm working as a temp, but I don't want to be a frenemy. I will watch later. All right, so hello from later on, Glenda. Anita says, hi, my dysfunctionals. Hope you're well today. Sorry I can't join you. Extremely busy day. Hope you watch later. Tom, Alistair, and Tonya, take care of yourselves, says Lillian. Dawn says, love your new concept, Tom. What has happened about the studio? Okay, well, let me fill you in on that. We've secured the studio space. We've got the office space. I've got the building. I've done the agreement with the owner of the company. And now I need to put it together, which requires a bit of money. So I'm in the process of what business people would say, raising capital to put the studio together. It's not a lot of money that I need, but I don't have it in my pocket. So I'm looking around for it at the moment. And as soon as we've got that working capital together, I'll have that studio up. And from there, it gets very exciting because then we're going to be putting on, and I've been thinking about this for a while, what kind of content do I want to make when I make more content? And I want to offer solutions. I could quite easily go into political commentary and news analysis like I did on 702 and get a lot of views and people agreeing and disagreeing with me on a daily basis. But I think that's been done already and there are a lot of people doing it. What I'd like to do is I'd like to offer solutions to problems. So you can expect a brand new channel coming up on YouTube and Facebook which offers solutions to problems, where people like Johan Buerta will have a home, offer solutions to our emotional problems, and we'll have doctors on board that will offer solutions to our medical problems, and we'll have lawyers on board who will offer solutions to legal problems, etc., etc., etc. We'll have Leon Lowe on board who will offer solutions to South Africa's problems. So there's a channel coming up. I can't talk too much about the name or the specifics. There's a lot of work going into it behind the scenes, but very soon you'll see the channel up and running, and they'll be coming out of the studios, and so will this show, and then we won't have Billy annoying us anymore. And don't say you'll miss him. Sad news, says Heather, but understand how others need a break too. Hope the pause button isn't pressed for too long. Yeah, me too. Daryl's still here. Alison Donaldson says, sad news, wishing Tonya and Alistair well, but you have our support in the future shows. Excited for the new lineup. Thank you, Alison. I'm excited about the guests we can bring on, and I'm excited to keep you entertained. Tom, you got this. You'll run the show very successfully. We'll stand behind you always. I need you. I've got no scam in saying it. I need you. Fully understand. Blessings to Alistair and Tanya, says Glynis. Hope my beautiful friend and her mama are okay. I talk to Tanya every day. When I said it at the beginning of the show that I wouldn't be sane today if it wasn't for the nightly phone calls with my best friend Tanya, I meant it. We're on the phone constantly, and every evening we have a phone call where we just talk about anything and everything. And she's one of the few people in the world that I can say absolutely anything to. And when she's in trouble and in pain, my heart feels it too. So I'm with you on that. I hope, and this is where I say we just need to stand together and send good wishes and prayers. Wishing Tanya and Alistair well. Tom, just keep being strong. I am. Physically, I'm doing well. I'm very happy to be in this position I'm in. Mandy Wilson says, Tom, you're 100% correct. Tanya's fighting a hard battle as her daughter's supporting her mom, is fighting for her life. In this family, I've been in this position twice, 10 years ago with my dad, 2 years ago with my mom, so I completely understand. If there's any way to support Tanya, please let us know. I mean it when I said my home in Durban can be a safe space for Tanya and her mom if they need it. Alistair, I'm so sorry about having issues. I'm assuming it's linked to Primrose living. My brother is also in Primrose and desperately unhappy. Please try another area in South Africa before you leave our beautiful country. I don't think Alistair's going to go anywhere soon, but he's got the same problems we all got. You've got to survive in this dog-eat-dog world, and that's not easy. Yvonne Duplessis says, Tanya Curry and Alistair, I hope you will be better soon. We wish you all the best. Thinking of you. Nicholas says, thanks for the good luck with the new format of your show. Thanks, Nick. Marlene Falkenberg says, wishing Tanya and Alistair well. We'll miss them. Have no doubt the show will still be great. Thank you, Leslie. I'm going to try my absolute best. Sally Tarr says, this is such a sensible idea, Tom. Of course, we're going to miss the team terribly, but imagine the reunion. Now, I just know I've had moments in my life where I've had to deal with a lot emotionally, where there's a lot on my plate, and it doesn't leave much room for broadcasting, I must be honest. And it's one of the hardest things to do is step away for a while. But it's essential to do that, to stay sane. I'm happy with the new format for the show, a new season for the Tom London Show unveiling. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the guests we can bring on. And while I'm talking about that, pop some suggestions in the comment section. Who would you like to hear from? Wendy Kutsia, we've got your back. Thank you, Wendy. Patricia Ferrandi says, hello, Patricia. Wesley McGee says, good afternoon from Bloemfontein. Good old Bloem. How's it, Wesley? The Rose City, hey? I think that's what they call Bloem, the Rose City, and I think Johan Botha is in Bloem as well, so we'll ask him about that in a moment. Lisa Holt joins us from Nottingham, UK. Karen Eva says, I've been away in a holiday in Cape Town. It was great. Lucky you. Nicole Patterson's on board, watching from Mallorca. Wow, that's nice. Patsy McKeegan. Everyone say hello to my Uncle Alan. I've known him, well, he's known me since I was a baby in a shoebox. Uncle Alan's on board today. And a lot of nice messages coming through. Mandy says, I think I need to say that this show can also be in support. We don't always have to laugh. We can listen, help, and support. Yeah, amen to that. Margaret says, Tanya, we're behind you and your mom all the way, girl. Lots of love. We all have bad days. We can just do it in private. Go, my East Rand boykie, says Ingrid Reichman. And Maura Lou says, lower back problems caused by money worries. Well, I think money worries are a constant in most South Africans' lives, although I did injure my back 6 years ago, and it's got a lot to do with that too. You're excellent at dealing with solutions to problems. Go for this, boykie. I'm proud of you. To be honest, absolutely honest, I just thought, do we have the energy for this? And the honest answer is no. Not for the kind of comedy we've been producing. That's why I keep bringing up the word comedy. We really have done some good comedy. All right. Everyone is on board, and I wanted to show you something. What did I want to show you? I think Alistair put this in the group just now, and I think it's pertinent to raise this because we do deal with the hospital issues from time to time on the show. But at the moment, there are a couple of interesting things happening. Like, for example, this is Newsroom Africa reporting on an SIU raid at the Hangwani Maumela home. This is in connection with the Tembisa fraud. 3 Lamborghinis and other vehicles being loaded onto a car as we speak. That's good news. And then some other news in the police space is that police officers have arrived at the Centurion home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Shadrach Sabia. So a lot happening in this space that we've been covering for a year when it comes to fraud and corruption, and particularly how it hurts our healthcare system. Good to see Lamborghinis being loaded on the back of a truck. I don't know how you feel about that, but I am. Okay. In a moment, we will get to your suggestions on who you would like to see on the show. And I'll write those suggestions down and we'll see how many of those guests we can get for you. And then we'll chat to Johan Botha-Skrywer down in Bloemfontein on our thoughts and our emotions. Very important chat coming up. First, though, Mario Beltrami has got a message from you from Suzuki Kyalami.
Hi, Mario here. Buying a Suzuki from us is just the beginning of our relationship.
Hi, I'm Cicero, one of the senior service advisors. Now that you've bought your new Suzuki, once the car's due for service, we will obviously guide you through that process. We are open Monday to Friday from 7 until 5, on Saturdays between 8 and 1 for services. Remember, we are here for you. If you need any advice or assistance, we will happily assist you. The door is always open.
Our business is based on people-first philosophy. We care about your vehicle and you. Come join us at Suzuki Kyalami and Suzuki Rivonia, the home of happy customers.
Okay, hi Tom, hi everyone. Listen, let me just tell you, you've got the best army backing you that anyone can have, any world leader can have. So shout out to everyone out there. Thank you so much for supporting the show and supporting the good work that Tom and his gang is doing. So I'm very glad.
I'm a crappy sound engineer, as people just worked out, but I got the sound back in time to hear what you just had to say. And I agree with you. We've got this Tom's army that we've got behind us. Look what we've done this year. You know, I forget actually, but if we run through from the beginning of the year, we had Dwayne who was in trouble. We had Damien who was in trouble. We had Theomine's mom who was in trouble. There have been people we've been able to help very quickly that we haven't even put on the show, that we've got moved to better hospitals. And so our big success story this year has been Jenna Lee and the fact that she's straight and walking beautifully. So we've really had some good success, and I'd like to build on that in the future. And thank you, Johan. That means a lot to me, and I agree with you. We've got the best people watching the show. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, okay, so today we are focusing on thoughts and feelings. And, you know, it's interesting that the connection between the two, because you find a lot of times that your thoughts influences your feelings, leads your thoughts, and the way you think kind of influences the way that you feel. So it's a very interesting thing to take notice of, and we don't, because we all function, I think, especially this time of year, you kind of start functioning on autopilot.
It's an interesting thing, yeah, that you bring up. This is almost like a chicken and an egg scenario. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? But do you think it's feelings first? I've never thought of that.
Well, look, if you don't feel well, you don't have high energy thoughts. So if something happened in your life, or you just wake up one morning and you just feel, you know, a bit icky, if I could put it like that, you tend to think low energy thoughts, like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't have strength for this day lying ahead, you know. So it's it's very difficult sometimes when you start going on in autopilot. And I was thinking just before we came on, I'm kind of in this end of year mood, you know.
Me too. Me too.
You go on, you go through each day, but you kind of, you know, you have a lot to do, but it's like, you know, you procrastinate a lot. And I started thinking about that, and we all forget that we can decide what we think about, and we don't. Because we entertain a lot of things.
Can I stop you there? I'm keen to hear what our viewers have got to say about this, their own personal experiences of feelings, creating negative thoughts or negative feelings, being attached to negative thoughts. I'd love your input on this in the comment section. I'll give you mine. And today's a day where I'm just being absolutely blunt and truthful, I suppose. But I think a lot of people will relate to me. At the moment in my life, I got a sore back. I mean, it's not killing me, and I'm not going to die from it. And, it's just it's an irritation. But after a few weeks of it, I kind of wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, woe is me!" Before I've even looked out of the window to see whether it's a good day or not, I'm still lying in bed, and I'm like, "Oh man." At the same time, that I'm dealing with an irritating pain, I'm also dealing with the daily stresses that South Africans have, and that's money most of the time. How do I make the money last till the end of the month? How do I make more money, etc., etc.? And it's ironic, as we get to a time of the year where the weather lifts and everything becomes lovely, our moods decline. In Europe, it's the other way around. Summer comes along and everyone's happy. Winter comes along and they're all depressed. But in this country, as summer approaches, we all get a little And I think it's the grind of it all, and the fact that when next year comes along, there's still going to be next year's problems. The problems are never going to stop. And I think it's that so easy to fall into a mindset or a feeling of, this is not nice. None of this is nice. And it's easy. I've got to tell you, it's easy for me to get there. I can get there in a second.
And it's much easier to get there than get to a place where you function in high energy, when you think positive thoughts, when you are grateful for what you have. Because it's much easier to see the things you don't have or that you still want than to look around you and say, but listen, look what I have. Look what I have to work with. You hear a lot that people say, if you don't know where to start, look at what you have to work with. And we're so easy to tell ourselves, but I have nothing to work with. And that's the problem, because if you believe that, then you won't have anything to work with. Even if, you were talking about finances now.
Well, let's go there. Let's start there. And I say let's start there. I think I've got one of the most accurate research platforms in the world, and that's Bolt and Uber. I've been using Bolt and Uber for almost 8 years now. I think I've done 6,000 rides. I could have bought 3 cars with the money I've spent with these guys. But one of the things I love is the interaction with the drivers. But I can tell you that almost every drive of those 6,000 rides I've taken in an e-hailing cab, the conversation has turned to money and how difficult it is in South Africa today. And I guess globally, people will put up the same kind of problem. It's tough. But in South Africa, the economy we've got, the high unemployment we've got, difficult to find opportunities. I think money, if you're not afflicted by a health problem, then money is most definitely your main concern when you get up in the morning, for most people. So it's the biggest thing to deal with. But how do you deal with it? The easy way to deal with it is to win the lotto, and then you've got 60 million in your bank account, and then you don't have to worry about money or money problems tomorrow. But we're not all going to win the lotto. So how do you deal with this need to make money in this world and at the same time be positive about it when it's such a negative experience, Johan?
Let me ask you, why do a lot of people who win the lotto become broke 6 months later?
Family. It's family and investments advisors. And gambling and alcohol and sex, drugs and rock and roll. I don't know. Why? Because they don't know how to handle it?
It's how you handle that. Yes, it's about how you think about it. It's like when you get a lot, suddenly you don't really know. You're not at a place in your life where you can use that in a way that's good for you and the people around you. But you said now that it's very easy to become so consumed by financial worries. And that is one of the most, one of the biggest problems and issues that leads to suicides and, drug dependence, alcohol dependence.
Also, the relationships break down. Everything becomes a problem.
That's right. And, sorry, I lost you there. I just wanted to see what's going on the screen.
That's okay. You're
Technology
good.
is not
That's
there.
okay.
I'm back, yes.
All right, well, you're still here with
Technology
us.
is not my friend. Anyway.
You know what? I wanted to add something and just see whether it adds to the conversation, or whether age has got something to do with it. And I can only talk for myself. When I was 20-odd years old, and let's just take the studio thing that we've got at the moment. I've got the premises, I've bought the gear, but I've run out of bucks after I bought all the gear. So now I still need to, put curtains in, and I need to buy a router and a table and chairs and stuff like that. It's probably 20,000 Rand. It's not a huge amount of money, but I don't have that extra. Now, in my 20s, I would have just gone down the driveway and gone and found the money quickly. But in my 50s, it's almost as if my confidence has taken a knock. That as I get older, I'm more risk averse. As I get older, I'm less inclined to just jump into the pool and say, let's go, block my nose and do a bomb. And I'm way more cautious than I used to be. And I think it's a product of age, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, definitely. Remember that when we grew up, we didn't have online money-making businesses online. If you wanted to make money, you either had to go and sell cola somewhere, or you had to, use your entrepreneurial spirit to wash cars or to work in gardens and stuff like that. I think now things has changed a lot. So I'll take myself for example. There are so many new things or ways to make a second income or to create an income stream, but you get intimidated a lot because most of that is on an electronic platform or online platform.
And so we're having to adapt more?
I think so, yeah, absolutely. And once again, that comes in the way that you think about it. I mean, if you are going to feel overwhelmed and tell yourself that I'll never be able to do this, I'll never be able to learn how to do this, then that is what you are going to believe, and that's going to be your reality.
You see, I'm not like that. I never go, I never. But when the problem consumes me, I always find it's easier to go to bed.
Yes.
Which is not a great place to go raise finance. Yeah.
Absolutely, because you're overwhelmed and you don't know what to do. I mean, that question, what do you do when you don't know what to do?
Yeah.
And I get to that place a lot as well. I mean, you get to a point, you know what to do, what you did in the past, but then you get to a point where that didn't work, and now what do I do next? And I think that we sometimes make the mountain bigger than it is. And I know it's not easy. I know, especially in today's, getting funding or creating a second income stream is not easy, and there's a lot of scams out there. But I think that looking beyond all those issues, you have to really go and sit down and be calm yourself from the inside. That's why living from inside out is so important, because you already have the answers in you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You don't have to go and look for the answers.
So how do you do that? Do you actually physically remove yourself from your bedroom and go sit in a different part of the garden? Or how do you remove yourself from the heaviness of life sometimes?
That's not a bad way to do it. If you have a special spot in the garden or somewhere, even a coffee shop you like to go to, go there, because it's going to relax you. You're going to think differently because you're going to be open to new and fresh thoughts. But also, if you meditate a bit and you think of a place like, for example, when you go to the ocean or somewhere in the bush, see that place in your head. Go to a quiet corner somewhere and think about it, feel it, experience it, And you'll be surprised when you get into that relaxed state. Thoughts come out that you haven't been thinking about before.
Do you know?
You allow your creativity to come out.
Do you know what I think?
And
I think talking to people helps. I think talking to people with the right, that when you talk to people who've got the right intentions, who've got your back, want to see you do well,
yes,
that helps a heck of a lot for me. Like talking to you today is helping me, and I'm sure as people watch this, there's a bit that's helping them too.
I hope so. I really hope so, because I think, no man is an island. So we are there to talk to each other. We are there people that you trust. It's so important to have, you don't need 1 million people around you, but to have 3 or 4 good friends, or even one, that you can talk to. I mean, like you and Tanya and Alistair. I mean, you guys can open up to each other and help each other.
About everything,
things, So that is so important, because it stimulates your own way of thinking about a certain issue or problem. And I don't even want to use the word problem. And because when you say problem, what do you feel? What do you think?
What word do you like?
You start feeling overwhelmed. You start feeling stressed.
Yeah.
Because a problem is a big thing. It's something that's going to cause you to either fall or to struggle or to not make it to where you have to make it. But if you look at it as a challenge, what's the difference? Still the same thing, still the same situation. But if you look at it as a challenge, you're going to approach it in a different way. You're going to sit and dissect what this situation is really about. When your thoughts start running away with you and you have this mountain in front of you, you can't really think rationally about...
How do you pull the handbrake up on those thoughts? As you say, those thoughts start running away from you. There must be a way to pull the handbrake up on that.
You know what? There are practical ways to do that. And one of the ways is if you take your eyes and you move them to the left and the right, very quickly to the left and the right.
I find me doing that all day now, yeah?
Don't do it in a coffee shop. You look weird. But anyway, that's fine. You'll see how your thoughts become silent. When you look into someone's eyes and you stare, don't do this one in a coffee shop. Don't go stare into a stranger's eyes. But when you look into someone's eyes and you stare into someone's eyes, you also, your thought, it's like a silence kind of, you get covered in a silence and your thoughts stop. You have like this silent void between your ears.
So what are you saying? Move your eyes left and right.
Left and right, left and right, left and right, yeah.
So I'm going to be trying that. I promise you I'm going to be trying. I've started already.
But those are practical ways of just getting your thoughts to pause for a bit. Breathing also a very, very good technique to use. Just breathing in and out and sit still. And just think of a white wall, think of a white wall in front of you with nothing on. But those are all ways to just put up the handbrake a little bit.
What's the intention behind this?
Running. Yeah.
Is the intention to stop the negative thoughts and get to a more productive space? Or is the intention to make you happier? I know there are times in life where it's impossible to be happy, but you can still be productive.
Being productive and doing what you want to do is going to automatically make you feel better.
True.
So the idea is not to stick your head in the sand, to say, listen, I'm not going to have any negative thoughts. It's about what am I going to do with that negative thought that I'm sitting with now? Am I going to be a victim of that? Or am I going to make it a friend of mine?
I think that's the most valuable line so far in this conversation. I think that's the most valuable line in this conversation so far. What am I going to do with my negative thought? This thought I've got, what am I going to do about it?
I'm not going to run away from it. I'm going to acknowledge it and even talk to it and say, okay, you are here now, but I am bigger than you. I've got wisdom, I've got clarity, and I'm going to use that to figure out what you want to teach me. Because a negative thought is a red light. It's telling you that something, you are either going offline, I call it going offline, like a computer. A virus wants to kind of enter your computer. That's a negative thought. So you step back, you can even visualize it. Seeing the thought there, stepping back a bit, breathe, keep silent, and then say, okay, I'm thinking about this now. It's not good for me. I don't feel well when I think about this. But what is this trying to teach me? Maybe I should do this or this or this. So don't try to stick your head in the sand, but acknowledge it. And
that makes it worse. Yeah, I know. I can identify with that. All right, if you've got a question for Johan Botha or a comment that you want to make on the topic about thoughts and emotions, I'd like to hear what you've got to say. We're sharing today. All right, let's get to the comment section. Some of the guest ideas: Chris Gibbons, Chen Ravi, Jenny Chris Williams, Stan Katz, Yusuf Abramji. Oh, wow. I haven't spoken to Yusuf for a long time. I'm sure Yusuf will come on the show. Patsy Ridlinghay says it's that time of the year. Everyone needs a break, whether it's going away or just staying at home and chilling. Everyone needs R&R. That's true. Tom, tell your back to take a walk out the door. We want to see you fit and healthy big time. You've done extremely well with all the pressure and circumstances. I was looking back on the last year because it's been a year since I came out of hospital, and I think I'm hard on myself. Maybe that's part of it. When you're hard on yourself, you wake up in the morning and first thing you do is be hard on yourself. But looking back objectively, I think I've done okay. So thank you, Margaret. I appreciate that. Okay, a lot of people saying hi, Johan. Hi, Johan. Nice to see you also being there for us, including Tom, says Margaret. Thank you. Guests to consider: John Robbie, Aki Anastasiou, Ray Hartley, Danny DeVette, muso and author. That's nice. That's a good idea. Eunice says this time of the year is very rough for a lot of people. People are burned out and they have short fuses and stress is in overdrive. Some advice to stay positive and motivated at this time would be great. There we go, Johan. How do we stay positive and motivated this time of the year?
Don't force yourself. If you feel down, if you feel like we said now, allow yourself to feel down, but don't fall victim to that. So take mini breaks. Look after yourself. Self-care. Don't push yourself to the limit, to the max where you are, going
breaking
to implode, basically.
Yeah.
I saw something on Instagram the other day where they said romanticize your life. So what they mean by that is when you have your coffee in the morning, go sit in a nice spot and have your coffee. Don't do it while you get dressed. When you are relaxing for 15 minutes and reading a bit, do that. Be engaged in that. Don't think about the next.
Enjoy those moments.
Enjoy the moments.
Okay,
and
that's practical. That's practical. Vanessa Schmidt says Caroline Leaf on YouTube, ex-South African neuroscientist, deals with the minds and how we can change it. That sounds very interesting, Vanessa. I love summer, but not this time of the year. I prefer to skip to January, says Marlene Falkenberg. So does Daryl. Lizelle Elliott says, I find when I'm in a bad place, it's always good to switch to a gratitude practice. By consciously shifting our awareness to the things that are working, you shift your vibration. I've heard this said before. Gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm a contradiction because I'm extremely grateful for the health I've gotten, the life I've gotten. I love life and I love being alive, but it's the daily grind that gets to me. I'm trying to work out how to be more grateful, I suppose. But Lizelle's got a great point. Money issues, you cannot make yourself richer by feeling poor. So perhaps shift awareness to what makes you feel abundant, says Lizelle. See you nodding your head to that.
I lost you there. Sorry, Tom.
Okay. Lizelle says money issues, you cannot make yourself richer by feeling poor. So perhaps shift awareness to what makes you feel abundant. I saw you nodding your head, so I thought you were agreeing with that.
There you go. Yeah. I heard the last bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, we think wealth and we connect that always to finances. But if you have children, you are rich in that on that level. When you have a good relationship, a healthy relationship, you are rich on that level. We all need finances to survive. We need money. We all know that. But don't limit being wealthy just to having finances, because you can have finances and be poor
Too true.
on other levels.
That's so true. Okay, I'm learning some things today. I am.
So, yeah.
I'm listening. That's a start. I'm listening. Alistair says, I'm a person that always looks for the good, the positive. I find that keeping it going when others are constantly picking at the scabs of life. I have 2 amazing sons. I'm alive. I may not have money, but every day I look forward to the day I can make a difference in someone's life. There we go. He's got a good attitude. Shaz de Menezes says, very difficult. You and me both, Shaz. Lizelle says, no, people who win the lotto lose it because they come from a deprived mindset. They don't value the money. Alistair agrees with Lizelle. Mandy says, globally, many are struggling financially. Sadly, in South Africa, the government support system is ridiculous. It's not just the need to have money for now, but also when you're too old to work, one has to plan for those days, as the reality is many can't work till the very end. And I think this is something that's troubling a lot of people my age and above, where you start thinking about your last quarter of life or whatever it might be, and how are you going to spend it? And then you kind of think, I'm going to spend it working every day till the day I don't. And I think that's a very good point that Mandy raises. I think a lot of people that are approaching pension age or are at pension age, where 40, 50 years ago would be looking forward to sitting on the stoep with a glass of Oros and a Gunston plane and enjoying the sunset, but now not so many are able to retire in comfort. I agree with Mandy. Dawn says,
true.
I find, although on the flip side of that, I've met many people of pensionable age who have started life again and started new things. You take my father for an example. My dad lost everything when he lost my mom 6 years ago or so. And that could have been the end of him. That could have been him sitting down and just waiting. But he decided to be an author. And I think he's written 6 books since then and been successful in the sphere as well. So I think my greatest example of how you can approach those challenges with some gusto is my own father. Dawn says, I find embracing the hell out of a problem works for me, and health is more important than money. People need to be economically minded. What do you need and what do you want? Margaret Guider says, Tom, please don't feel alone. We are with you all the way. Money problems, fighting the mindset of depression and anxiety for different reasons. We need to and have to look at the things we have to be grateful for in the name of inner survival. Without your health, you are nothing. Look how far you've come. I think, I cannot argue with that one. Without your health, you are nothing. And if that's the starting point for feeling better about life, then I'll take that. Eunice says, true, financial stress can lead to substance abuse. Mandy Wilson says, it's a different world now, Tom, to when we were in our 20s. It's not just being risk averse. We are literally living in a different universe. That goes to the point you were making earlier, Johan, that life is changing and we're living in a digital world now, and us oldies have to adapt. Alistair says, the older we are, it's not just our approach or the way we think, but also society's approach to us, how we are valued. I think there's a good point there. Moira LaRue says, affirmations start with the word why. Tom, when you wake up, say, why do I attract so much money? Oh, instead of why is my back so sore? Okay, I'll do that. I must be honest, I battle with stuff like that. We had a lady on about 2 years ago on a show I was doing, and she said, when you wake up in the morning, don't lie in bed and mope. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then when you go 1, jump out of bed. And the next morning I lay in bed and I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I carried on lying in bed. That's me. I'm like, very difficult to get this dog to the water bowl. It's normal that you would be more cautious and not a major risk taker as you get older. There's so much adaptability to be done. Lizelle's got a lot to say about money. Money is energy. It's not a finite resource hoarded by a select few. It's a current that flows through the global body of humanity. I've always believed that too. To believe it's scarce is to believe the air is scarce. That's profound. It's a matter of positioning yourself to breathe it, to circulate it, to allow it to flow and through you. We all have access to this energy because we all are, by our very nature, generators of our energy, our time, our focus, our skills. Just like Lizelle, you are making a lot of sense today. Dawn Stelfox says a hobby works wonders for depression. I've never been able to get a hobby going, man. Never. I got a bonsai tree and then I killed it, and that was the end of my first and last hobby. There are people I know, they've got 2 or 3 hobbies and they keep themselves occupied. I'm bad at that. And I think it goes back to something a dentist said to me in Randfontein once. She said, how are you? I went for a consultation. I said, I'm depressed. And she said, verbatim, she said, ach, kak, man. I said, sorry, She said, "Jy praat kak." I said, "What do you mean?" "You're a medical professional. How can you tell me there's no such?" She said, "There's no such thing." I said, "Depression." She said, "There's no such thing." I said, "But you're a medical. How can you say that?" She said to me, "You know when you get depressed? When your hands are still." And I've never forgotten that. And whenever I feel depressed, there's that common denominator that my hands have been too still for too long and my brain has taken over.
Yes. You were talking about, there's a very interesting course called Half Time, and it's about when you get to the half, the halfway mark. It's kind of like in a rugby game when you get to the half time. The next phase of your life is the phase where you are probably going to look at retirement and you are much older, but that's an opportunity for you to look at, what did I not do up to now? What interests did I not give attention?
Now I'm gonna spill my guts. Do you know what I've always wanted to do? But it doesn't work with my future plans or my near-term plans. I've always wanted to get in a combi camper with a lovely lady and just go and make travel programs.
That's awesome.
But sometimes the things that, those kind of dreams, they're so far off where we are that it seems impossible to get right. Impossible.
But you make it impossible for yourself.
Yeah, I've got a queue.
Because you already decided.
I know, I've got a queue. I've got to make both studios first, and we'll put the new channel up, and X, Y, Z, and then one day maybe I'll buy a combi camper and I'll go driving around the country making travel programs. Anyway.
Well, look, you're still young, Tom. You can still do that.
That's true. That's true.
Remember, life is seasons.
That's true. Gail Mortensen says, before I retired, beginning of April 22, this time of the year was always hectic. Magazine print media is frenetic by nature. This time it was 10 times more chaotic, cramming in things before the December leave period. I had to do a checklist, which I stuck to, which helped tremendously and have ensured I always achieved successful outcomes. When I went on annual leave, having pushed myself to get everything done, first 2 days of leave I slept. Then I felt energized. Stress takes a toll on the body, emotions. Checklist. That's interesting. Because I'm not very good at writing things down.
Oh, I like the checklist idea. That's a very, very good thing to do. If you write it down,
write down 2 or 3 things that you could do today, despite your limited resources, and what two or three actions to take, and then just tick them off. Bite-sized chunks.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't put number 1. Go to Mars. Easier stuff than that. That's for Elon Musk.
Look for a pub. The name Mars, and you can say you went.
That's also true. Online work, there are so many scammers, don't know who to believe, says Rosemary Endicott. I think that is one of the dangers of this new world of ours. You don't know what's real and what isn't. Tom, wanting to get into bed is the blues, Johan is right. Meditation is especially important. Yes, talking to people makes a difference. There's also the Missouri coffee place. I find a lot of joy at the Devon Valley Shopping Centre. I don't know how many people do, but I do. I just walking around there and saying hello to people that I know, and people saying hi, Tom, shouting out my name and saying how's it. It all makes me feel a bit better about the world I live in. That's true. When you share what's heavy, it gets lighter. I'm a big believer in that, Mandy. I believe that. Okay, Lizelle says, pull the handbrake up. Shift to someone you care for. Gratitude practice. Comfortable bed, great coffee, good friendship. Lizelle is on fire today. Vanessa Schmidt says, Wim Hof breathing exercises and techniques on YouTube. You mentioned breathing exercises a little earlier on, and a few years ago I did a Daily Dose of Happiness show where we used to do a 4-squared breathing exercise at the end of every show. For me, breathing exercises are kind of like stretches. Like, I want my back to get better, and the doctors have told me I need to do my stretches, and then I do them, and then I stop doing them, and then days go by and I haven't done a stretch. I think it's got to do with how disciplined you are. And
consistency, absolutely.
Yeah, consistency is key, hey? I think of white walls all the time, says Alistair. I can't see around the end of the walls to see what I have to do behind the wall. Being productive is an excellent way of dealing with negativity. Thanks, Johan, says Margaret Guider. If I didn't have a job to occupy my mind, I would go crazy. I hope you're pressing the like and the heart and the ha-ha button. If you do, then you are amigo. If you don't, then you are non-amigo. You're not as good a friend as you could be, in other words. Dawsdale Fox says, trying to compartmentalize your thoughts and identify what thoughts to have most. I'm late. Hello from Perth, Australia. Hello, Gwen. Talk to our Creator, God, Jesus, says Vanessa. As I've leaned more heavily into faith over the last few years of my life, I find that when all else fails and I've come to the end of my solutions in my own head, I turn my problems over to God. I really do. And I go, I need your help here. So I get that, Vanessa, and I agree with you. Thanks, Johan, says Yvonne. Tom, can't all of us on the show donate money for the studio to help? I don't know. I've been thinking of different ways to get the money together. I'll figure it out. But that's very kind of you, Yvonne. I've come across many people who don't like asking for money at all. And I come from that kind of belief system. I think it was my grandparents who did that to me, my Danish grandparents. That kind of taught you not to ask, not to push in front of other people. So I've always had this interesting relationship with getting what I want, because ultimately to get what you want, you've got to ask and you've got to put a proposition forward. But there's the other half of me that feels shy, that feels ashamed, all these different emotions about asking for something. And I guess that ties into what we're saying. I mean, if you're sitting feeling bad and you just need a hug from someone, or you need to talk to someone, you need to ask someone for something, it's as easy as asking, but sometimes it's not that easy.
I lost you there at the end.
I'm just saying, when sometimes the solution is just asking, but we've got all these negative things attached to asking. And the easiest thing to do when you're looking for something is to ask, but sometimes it's the hardest thing to do.
It all depends how I think about it, because a lot of people associate asking with begging, and it's not that at all. So when you need funding for, like, for instance, the studios, whoever attributes funding will also, they're also going to benefit from those studios, because they're going to get quality shows, from the studio.
I get that.
It's like this transaction that you are kind of doing.
I get it. And I think, Johan, and this is where it's interesting for me, and perhaps I'm speaking for more than just me, that it's possible in certain phases of your life to get what you're saying exactly right. And then for certain phases, exactly wrong. And sometimes I wonder whether life doesn't just work in seasons, where sometimes you're going through winter and then other times you're going through summer. And you just got to roll with it sometimes.
Life are full of seasons. Life is seasons. You have your desert seasons, and you have your spring seasons, your winter seasons. It's all part of the adventure that we call life. It's all part of growing, getting to know yourself more, discovering things about yourself that you would not have discovered, if it hadn't been for a certain season in your life.
True.
So don't disregard anything you go through. It's all learning, a learning curve.
Got it. Margaret says, how about Leanne Manus, Skulk Bazaar? I'd love to have Skulk Bazaar on the show. Thanks, Johan. Some really great advice and food for thought, says Una. Karen Atwell says, as somebody who chose not to have children, I do not believe children bring wealth. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you, and we won't start an argument on that one today. You stick with that belief. I often tell my friends who have families and children that their biggest blessing is that child. And the sacrifice, the price that you pay for that prize is freedom. Because forevermore, your life will be linked to the needs of that child. And that's the price. If you're like Karen and I, we don't have kids. Well, we haven't got the prize. Or our prize is freedom, rather, but the price is not having the blessing of children. That's the way I've always thought about it, but Karen is even more hardcore than me. Johan, you've got this. Money can't buy a lot of things in life, says Margaret. Moira LaRue says, on the physical side, back pain is weak stomach muscles. I got a sneaking suspicion, you're right, Moira. As my boop has got to Gwede Mantashe levels, so my back problem started. And I turn around and look in the mirror, and I can't see anything wrong with my back, but I can see something wrong with the front. And I think you're right. It's never too late to make a fresh start in your life. Your father's a good example. Mandy Wilson says, giving and uplifting others is the ultimate feel-good fuel, and it doesn't need to cost a cent. Too true. What is it with you and the Devon Valley Centre? Cute though. I'm from Springs, and the Devon Valley Centre reminds me of the shops in Selcourt Springs. I think it just brings back good memories. Maddie Wilson says, I have a long list I work from. I send it to myself on WhatsApp, and I edit as I complete something or add something new. Keeps me in line. Is it wrong to love being alone and loving it? Control of who and what I want to do? That's a good question. Is it wrong?
No.
I don't think so.
To be alone in life.
I don't think so. I think if you make the choice and you're happy with it, that's cool. I'm cool being on my own, but I'm not generally happy being alone. I function better with a partner in my life. I really do. So I continue looking. It's tough out there. Keep the faith, Thomas. What's that? A dating? I considered that.
You started dating.
I considered that. I have considered it. We've spoken about it on the show. What else we got here? When I pay my accounts, I could pay you 100 Rand. Oh, thanks for. I actually didn't come on the show to try and raise money from the viewers today, but that's very kind of you. Alistair Jameson asking for money to help you was the easiest ask I've ever had to do. And Alistair kicked off the Backer Buddy campaign a year ago. It's thanks to him that we got all that money in that got me the op. But I'll never forget when I needed a bit of cash to get into the hospital. I called my brother in Abu Dhabi and I said, I don't know what to do. They want 80,000 Rand for me to get through the door. And he said to me, the only person I know who can get this right is you. Sometimes people have got more faith in you than you've got in yourself.
Absolutely. And that's so important why you have to have people in your life, not necessarily a partner, but people, friends in your life who can, pick you up when you don't know what to do.
I agree. Thank God for friends.
Yeah.
In my experience, thanking and talking to God for just a few minutes in the morning can make a big difference. Amen. Pat's uncle, our biggest blessing are adult married kids, and especially our little IVF miracle grandson. That's lovely, Pat. It's interesting. I wonder if there's a link, and I suspect there is, that as you lean more into faith, so these problems become more trivial, and as you lean more into the worries, they become more desperate. I think there's a point to be made in that. Let's all tap the heart icon all together now, says Gwen. Okay, well, if you've got your screen nearby, then just press that heart icon quickly. And then Alistair's making jokes. He's causing trouble with me. Gail Mortensen says the Devon Valley shops certainly do have a similar ambiance to the row of shops along Niger Road in Selcourt Springs. Thank you, Gail. You and me, we both get that. So, Johan, your Facebook page is Johan Botha Schryver, and I'm just showing you the page now. So if you're watching the show and you'd like to follow Johan, go along to Johan Botha Schryver on Facebook, and you'll find a whole lot of things there. You've also got a course coming up, or a seminar coming up. Tell us about that.
I'm very excited about that. That's on the 22nd of October. It's an online session that I'm going to do. And it's all about, we are asking the question there, are your thoughts ruining your life? And we are going to go into it in much more detail and in a practical way. And for you to kind of rediscover what's going on in your mind and how that is affecting what you do and what you say and how you feel. Then also included in that will be a PDF workbook that you will get to kind of work through at home, and a free one-to-one session with me, half an hour one-to-one session with me. So if you want to...
So this is when? The 20th of October, you said?
22nd.
22nd of October.
Yes.
And what
That's
time?
right.
Is it a day? How long does it last?
It's an hour and a half, and it starts at 7 p.m. until 8:30.
Okay.
So if you want to book, I can just maybe give you Elda's number. If you want to book, you can send a WhatsApp. I don't know if you can maybe put it on the page.
Well, I tell you what. We'll do is I write it in the comments section right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to write to contact Waldo. Is that right?
Elda, ELDA.
ELDA. Okay. Call. Okay. What's the number?
Okay. It's 078 050 711 0.
078 050. Let me try that again. 078 050 7110. I'm putting that in the comments now. You'll see to contact Elder, call 078 050 7110. So this is on the 22nd of October. In the evening,
Right.
an hour and a half or so online with you for an online seminar. And then what did you say you get free if you go along and you join the seminar?
Okay, the early bird price is running now. And then included in that is your PDF workbook that you will get to go through at home. And then also a free 20 minute to half an hour session with me, one-to-one.
And what's the cost of the seminar? And that includes the PDF and that includes the half-hour session with you?
Yes. So the early bird price is $250, and then the normal price is $350.
All right. So if people get involved now and join, $250, you get the online session, you get the PDF, and you get half an hour with Johan. And the number to contact is Elder 078 050 7110. Apparently the rain has started to fall in Primrose. We need it in Johannesburg. I don't know, have you had much rain in Bloem?
Not really, no. We had on Monday and over the weekend a bit, but I think they said next week again, so we'll see.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, Johan, thank you very much. So you know, we've got Viv, the dismotivational speaker, and we've got you who motivates us. And so Viv,
we should do a thing together.
I don't know how that would work. But so we got Johan encouraging us to be exceptional, and we've got Viv encouraging us to be average. Take your pick. But Viv will be with us on Tuesday. I think she's going to be talking about running up Kilimanjaro. I can't wait to hear about that. And you'll be back in a month for another session with us that we all get for free. Thank you, Johan.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Thank you, everybody.
And just once again, Johan Botha Skrywer is where you'll find Johan on Facebook. Go along and like his page. And I haven't seen the post on the seminar up there, but I'm sure you'll put it up and people can respond to you via the Facebook page as well.
Yes. That will go up.
Lekker, man. Before we go, let's clean up the comments and let's see what people have got to say. Eunice says, to me again, most people I know drain my energy with their negative energy or running to me for everything. I need a replacement crystal, I think, to deflect negative energy. I'm surrounded by energy vampires I can't deflect from. Who you've got around you does make a big difference, eh? It does make a big difference. Margaret says, if I had the money, I would seriously organize a spiritual retreat for you. Spiritual retreat? Maldives would do just fine. One of those houses sticking out of the water. The retreat is usually organized by the relative church, in my case, Anglican. Oh, okay. Can seriously change your life big time. No jokes. All right, I won't joke about that. Mandy says, I have a question about depression and disconnect, especially in families. I blame social media and cell phones. Many have lost the ability to connect as families or entertain themselves without screens. What are your thoughts? I'll give you my thoughts in a second, but yours? Cell phones, social media use?
Limits, set yourself limits. Once again, those are tools in your hand. So what are you doing with those tools? Don't allow a thing that's not alive to influence you influence your thoughts and what you feel and what you think. So once again, that's a form of self-care. I've started to set limits on my social media usage because I started to see that I'm more on social media than I should be.
That's right.
So I kind of started and, in the evening, I tried to limit my social media time. And I can't tell you what the difference that made.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Just feel clearer and just, you actually have your own thoughts. You don't think about what you see all the time.
I'm going to be
if that makes sense.
I'm going to be even more hardcore in my assessment. I remember when smartphones came out but the iPhone was released in this country in late 2007, 2008, sometime around there. And at the same time, the social media giants started rising. And so as the smartphone developed and social media developed, it all happened very quickly. I was working at Vodacom at the time, and I had access to a lot of research on this new development. And I came across a survey out of America where social media addiction, let's call it that, is very similar to crack cocaine addiction. They're very similar patterns There's a very similar addiction cycle. So you put your phone down, and 15 minutes you need another hit. And you get that hit,
Yes.
and then you put it down, and then 15 minutes later you need another hit. Or you go onto Facebook, and then you finish everything on Facebook, and you switch over to X, and then you switch over to YouTube, and then you start rotating through the apps. I think there are people that will be able to identify with me when I say this, that all of a sudden you find yourself in this loop. You're not getting anything productive done. You're just going and getting hits, whatever hits they are, dopamine hits or becoming outraged or whatever. And whilst I think that this thing is the greatest invention that man has ever come across, I also think it poses the greatest threat to us as human beings, being human beings, and what has always held us together. I think this fits in perfectly with the age of individualism, where if I'm okay and I'm all right with my phone, then everything else is like to hell with. And it doesn't work well when it comes to creating functional families and friendships and societies. So I'm totally in favor of what you're saying, and I do it myself. Very often I give myself a social media holiday, or when I find myself in that addiction loop, as soon as I see myself going into that addiction loop that I know nothing good is coming from it, I put the phone down and I move away from it. But I think that telephones can be really good for you or really bad for you. And an example is this show today. Sit with Johan for an hour and chat to him about life's problems, and it's good for you. You feel a bit better, you got one or two more thoughts in your head, and you feel a bit better about carrying on. This is the kind of content we should be consuming and should be creating. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rubbish out there that we can get trapped into, and before you know it, you've watched people do cartwheels on the beach for half an hour and nothing great really came of it. All right, last comments. Thanks so much, Johan and Tom. It was a very interesting show today. Have a great weekend to everyone, baby hearts. Margaret Guida says, Tom, when you aren't looking for a partner, she's going to arrive in your life. I haven't been looking for 2 weeks and nobody's arrived yet. Mandy Wilson says, 100% agree on screen addiction. I found myself there. Phone in a different room helps. I agree, Tom. It's a huge threat to humanity. Yuna Guida says, social media addiction is a real problem. I can't identify, but I've seen it everywhere. I put mine away and I played jigsaw puzzles on my PC. Well, my motto is use social media, don't let it use you. Too true. Lizelle, you are our oracle of wisdom today, Lizelle. And Margaret Guida says, yep, the Facebook is damn addictive, very negative. Got to get myself my own addiction forming. Yeah, just as soon as you see yourself going through that loop, because it's like a circle you do. You'll have 2 or 3 apps that you keep going to. As soon as you see yourself do a circuit, that's when you should stop, because there's no reason why you've gone back to Facebook 5 minutes after you were there. You know, you were there 5 minutes ago. Nothing really changed in the world except there's something going wrong inside your head. It's called addiction. And we all thought that addiction meant hard drugs, but actually addiction can be the thumb and the brain mindlessly pressing things over and over again. It's not good for us. Anyway, Una will send a partner with a carrier pigeon, and for that I am eternally grateful. Okay, Johan, thank you very much. People can get hold of you by calling Elder on the number provided in the comments section, or go along to Johan Botha Skrywer on Facebook. Look for Johan there, and you can get hold of him via the Facebook channel as well, and he'll put the details of the seminar on the 27th of October. 22nd. Thank goodness you're still here. The 22nd of October in the evening. It's an hour and a half long or something like that. You'll get a PDF, and you'll also get 20 to 30 minutes with Johan, and the early bird price is $250. All right, get a hold of Johan and participate. All right, Johan, thanks, man. How's Bloem today?
Bloem is hot. It's about 29 degrees, almost 30.
Nice.
And it's dropping down to 26 by Saturday, but it's hot. You know, it's the real desert weather we have here. You know, it's
beautiful time of the year. Dry. Beautiful time of the year. Nice and cool in the evenings. Well, I wish you a spectacular evening. Look forward to our next session where you keep us on our toes, Johan. Thank you, Johan.
Thanks, Tom.
That's Johan Botha Skrywer on Facebook. You'll find him there. Well, he's helped me today. Yeah, I got to be honest. I wasn't feeling that lekker at the start of the show because like the news wasn't nice. But I think Johan was just what the doctor ordered. So thank you, Johan. And thank you to you for being in the comments section, Thank you for pressing the play button and watching. If you're watching after the fact, thank you. And if you're a YouTube viewer, and we got more and more climbing on every week from different parts of the country and Joburg, thank you for watching on YouTube. To Tom's Army, we'll be back on Tuesday. Viv joins us on Tuesday and tells us all about her run up Kilimanjaro or something like that. You never know what to expect from Viv, but Viv Vermaak is our special guest on Tuesday. Thank you for watching. I wish you a blessed night. I hope that as you leave the show today and as I leave you, that you go into the evening with peace in your heart, maybe a bit more peace than you had when you came on and watched the show, and maybe be a bit kinder to yourself, and maybe the gratitude thing, think of a couple of things we can be grateful for. I wish you that. I wish you a pleasant and a calm evening, and I wish you an evening free of stress, and I wish you an evening with love. And if there's no one there to love you, love yourself. You know what I mean? Daryl. Until Tuesday, I think we're going to have a good time on Tuesday, and I can't wait to see you then. Until then, I love you lots. I really, really do. The Tom London Show was brought to you by Suzuki Kyalami. When you pop along to Suzuki Kyalami, tell them Tom sent you.